Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So Jaime Munguia defeats Bruno Surace in their rematch to avenge his defeat that he suffered last year by knockout. Of course, when Surace knocked out Munguia last year, I would say it was the biggest upset of 2024. Surace went into that fight with, 4 knockouts in over 20 fights. And, he shocked all of us that night. He shocked all of us landing that big overhand right. But ultimately, he couldn't replicate it this time around. And what we saw in this rematch was a much more disciplined Jaime Munguia, a much more patient Jaime Munguia, and a Jaime Munguia who was paying much more attention to his defense and shape. A lot more selective with his work. And going into this rematch, when you get a big upset like that, when one guy gets knocked out and he goes straight into an immediate rematch, you ask yourself a question, about the mental demons and the confidence issues that may come after a defeat like that. And going into a rematch like this, very often these fighters can be too overcautious they're guilty of being a bit negative and a bit gun-shy. But in this fight, I felt Munguia got the balance spot on. He was more cautious, but not too cautious. Also psychologically, from Bruno Surace's point of view, when you get a big upset like that, especially by knockout, what's your mindset going into the rematch? Are you just going to try and roll the dice again and land that same shot? Or are you going to build on that and actually show different looks, show different combinations, show different problems to your opponent? And Bruno didn't adjust. He didn't go in there with anything new. I felt the knockout first time around really boosted his confidence to the point to where he felt he could do the same thing again without bringing anything new to the table. And in this fight, Bruno was fighting in a manner in which suggested to me that he just wanted to throw that right hand again, that long straight right hand and the overhand right to try and catch Munguia. He wanted to land the same shot to get the same result. But again, bringing nothing new to the table really. Munguia, like I said, a lot more solid defensively in this fight. He was even throwing more jabs, he was throwing more feints. And, it was a tit-for-tat fight, I felt, in the first few rounds. Surace was able to get through with his right hand. But Munguia was working with his jab. He was landing some body shots here and there, picking his shots quite well without rushing anything. After 4 or 5, 6 rounds, I felt Munguia was up, but Surace was still in it, kind of thing. Surace was having moments, but nothing sustained really, in my opinion. And Surace, I think, is going to develop into a frustrating fighter because you see him do things in there that are really explosive and really impressive. Like there was a moment in round, I think 3 or 4, where he threw a left hook, left uppercut combination. Now the shots didn't land, but he threw those shots so quickly and in such an explosive manner. You think to yourself, why can't you do more of that? But he was guilty of waiting way too long. He was way too economical with his work in this fight. And again, you look at his his knockout ratio. He only has 5 knockouts in way over 20 fights. But again, I look at the guy, when he does land or when he hits gloves, he seems like he hits harder than his record indicates. So yeah, I'd like to see this guy actually try to throw in combination and put his shots together a bit more. Be a bit more aggressive with it. He's explosive, he's strong. He's got good physical attributes, does Bruno Surace, but, guilty of waiting too long in this fight for my liking. Guilty of waiting too long. And that gave Munguia the opportunity to just outwork him, outjab him. In the second half of this fight, I felt Surace's output dropped even more. Munguia's output, I think, upped a little bit. And Munguia was able to work him when he was on the ropes and just grind him down to a UD. You could tell Munguia, in the back of his mind, he had the first fight in his head, but again, not to the point where it was detrimental to what he was doing. In fact, it made him more switched on and more he was concentrating more than we're used to seeing. In regards to his performance, it was disciplined. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't exciting like we're used to seeing from Munguia. He just boxed to the best of his ability and concentrated, and as a result, he got the win. What's next for Munguia? I wouldn't mind seeing a fight with Diego Pacheco or Christian Mbili. I think those would be good fights for Munguia. As for Bruno Surace, maybe fight at European level, try and win a European title and come again. I've heard that Bruno Surace, even going into this fight, is not a full-time fighter. Maybe now that he's got this Saudi payday, maybe he can concentrate on boxing full-time. And it'll be interesting to see where he could go, because there is some talent there with Bruno, in my opinion. I think there's some talent there. Yeah, the first time around it was like, yeah, he got the perfect punch and got the perfect knockout, but even before the knockout, he was doing some good things. He was losing, but he was doing some good things, but he doesn't do it enough. He doesn't impose, from what I've seen from him, he doesn't really impose himself on a fight. And he needs to work on that, be a bit more proactive, be a bit more aggressive, throw a few more punches. But I do think there's some talent there, so... And he's not that old, is he, Bruno? Let's have a look. I don't even know how old this dude is, Bruno Surace. Let's have a look. Bruno, he's 26 years old, so he's got a lot of time still, does Bruno. So we'll see where he goes. But I would like to see him maybe campaign at European level, I would say. Maybe campaign at European level. Or maybe he's going to go back down to middleweight. We'll see. But yeah, share your thoughts below. Not a great fight, but in terms of like performance, Munguia got it spot on. Surace, I felt waited too long, looking for one punch too much. And yeah, that resulted in him getting outpointed. Sort of 116, 112, 117, 111. I think those cards are fine. But yeah, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy. Peace.